Good evening. Welcome to the third annual Riverfest concert. It's a pleasure to be here, and we have a wonderful evening for a concert. My name is Paul Burgett. I'm the chairman of this year's Riverfest, and before we get started with the music, I'd like to make some thank you announcements to everybody who's made this year's Riverfest possible. First of all, I'd like to give a huge thanks to Gander Mountain, who this year is serving as our Riverfest event sponsor. So that was a huge shot in the arm for us this year. Also, Sustain Hudson came in as our premier sponsor this year, and that was also a huge shot for us. There was also four major sponsors this year: Saranda, Fresh and Natural, Uline, and Wiseway. All came in and supported. There's a whole list of other sponsors, and you can see them on the flyers or on our Riverfest website. In addition to the sponsors, I'd also like to thank the various partners that helped make Riverfest possible this year. We've turned into a 6-day celebration and still have 3 more to go. First, I'd like to mention the Hudson Library, who's been really good with their story time program, and Mary Davis is instrumental in that, but they also served as a co-sponsor of the Native American celebration, which was held on Tuesday, which had a real good turnout. So I thank you to them. There's also the Phipps Center for the Arts. Anastasia Sharton, who also has always played an instrumental role in Riverfest. Also, Youth Action Hudson, Allie Matrigine, who I don't think is with us tonight, was also very good, my cleanup partner for the river cleanup on Tuesday, so I always thank Allie for that. She also helped a lot with the social media. City of Hudson, I can't get by without thanking Deb Andrews and Tom Zuli for helping us use their wonderful park all week. And last but not least, Jen is not here, but I also like to thank Carpenter Nature Center, who has done a wonderful job with the programs throughout the week. We don't end tonight. There's 3 more days full of festivities. You can go online or see the flyers that are floating around. Tomorrow morning, there'll be a nature bird walk starting here at bright and early in the morning. We still have slots available tomorrow night for the river cruise, and that's going to be a special event starting at around 6 o'clock. They'll be boarding the boat, but there'll also be a talk on top of the boat. On Saturday morning, there's a paddle early in the morning on Lake Malibu. Gander Mountain is going to do a fishing derby for the kids, which should be a lot of fun with a lot of prizes. And also, the Carpenter Nature Center is going to have a display there. In the afternoon, the Octagon House, there'll be a ice cream social and a Civil War encampment and accompaniment by the Croix Cordsmen. So that should be fun. And on Sunday, our last day, there's a bike rodeo here in the park, and we will end Riverfest as we began it last year with the St. Croix Sacred Ensemble led by Dan Baumgartner. They put on a wonderful show last year, so I hope you can show up for that. That's at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. There should still be, I'd still like to also make announcements. And there's four special people that helped make Riverfest possible this year. So I'd like to personally thank Mr. Buck Malik. I think Buck is out there somewhere. Buck? He's hiding. I also like to thank Jackie Bradham. She was instrumental in this, and Judy Freund as well helped put tonight's concert together. Evie Nurbin is also very helpful in terms of the marketing. Tonight there's going to be a special thing for the kids with handing out river sticks up in the Messes and Masterpiece booth, so please send your kids up there. They'll also be making tambourines, and that's going to be part of the special end of tonight's concert. So with that, could you please give all of those sponsors and partners, and there's also several exhibitors still on hand. I counted 26 of them, so if you haven't had a chance, please go see all the exhibits. So thank you very much. And with that, I'd like to introduce Chris Turnahoy and the St. Croix Community Band. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have the St. Croix Valley Community Band and the Metro Brass. And please rise for our national anthem. Thank you. We are the St. Croix Valley Community Band collaborating with Metro Brass for this wonderful concert to share with you. Our next selection is by the famous composer Richard Strauss. He lived from 1864 through 1949 and represents one of the great post-romantic German composers. This fanfare is from the film by the same name, and we hope you enjoy this lovely piece. Our guest vocalist today hails from White Bear Lake. She is the mother of 3 children and very involved in theater throughout the Twin City region. Her favorite role, Maria from The Sound of Music. She has played and been in theater with the Lake Players in the Twin Cities and a variety of other places. Please welcome Peg Sutherland on America the Beautiful. Metro Brass is a group of talented musicians from a variety of backgrounds and occupations. That means they've got day jobs. Yep, that's how it translates. The next song, Tico Tico, was featured in 3 movies, including the Walt Disney film Saludos Amigos in 1942, Woody Allen's Radio Days in 1987, and the MGM film Bathing Beauty in 1943. I'm not promoting any of these movies, I'm just stating historical significance and facts. This song, Tico Tico no Fuba, literally means little sparrow in the cornmeal, and we thought that was very appropriate for an outdoor concert to reinvent the themes of nature and the river and bring freshness. We're looking all year around, so this one takes the cake. Please welcome our trumpet soloist David Rickham on trumpet and the Metro Brass. Our next selection by Mancini as well, Baby Elephant Walk. have been experiencing wonderful weather in the Midwest, haven't we? Isn't it just amazing? So it's very appropriate that we are celebrating the river, respecting the river, the cleanliness, all of the things that add to our sustainability and yet our enjoyment in this wonderful environment. I came down last evening to see how many of you would be in the sun during the concert and watch the sunset. And it didn't help to wish that you'd be shaded, so feel free to move at any time. Anyway, this kind of weather also inspired our composer Henry Mancini. He earned an Academy Award for the Best Original Song for this piece for its first performance by Audrey Hepburn in 1961, the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. In 1962, the work won the Grammy Award for the Record of the Year. Do you know what records are? They call them vinyls now. They're almost back in. It's hip. And later, it won the Grammy Award for the Song of the Year. This then became the theme for a singer named Andy Williams, who performed it at the Academy Awards in 1962, and it enhanced his life in a big way. He sang the first 8 bars of the piece at the beginning of his television show. He named his production company after this, and he started a venue in Branson, Missouri, all after this title, Moon River. Mr. Denny McGinn, a computer engineer, a software engineer, he will play the horn and share his version of Moon River. And of course it starts, Moon River, wider than a mile. the March King? Absolutely, it's a household name across the world. John Philip Sousa, known everywhere for what he did to bring the music to the people in parks just like this, on nights just like this. In 1895, he was experiencing success and getting lots of commissions to write new music for different communities and places and buildings and newspapers and anything that would have a celebration. They would call him, ask for a piece of music, the band would come to town, we'd have a premiere, and life was grand. In 1895, the archives say he was experiencing great success with $1,500 a year. My, how times have changed, huh? So anyway, John Philip Sousa, great businessman, and he did change the fabric of the American life with his bandshell performances. And he collaborated. He always had a guest soloist. He always had marches. He did transcriptions from orchestra pieces. And it was the music of the day, just like we are doing for you here tonight. Another thing that composers wrote for and marches were written for often, circuses. And sometimes I bet we feel like our life is like that, yes? Right, so anyway, this one is called King Cotton, inspired by the cotton industry. Judy Garland made this work famous in the 1939 movie, The Wizard of Oz, later put on Broadway. This became Judy's signature song and one of the most enduring standards of the 20th century. Auntie M is sick of Judy and says, Judy, go find yourself a place where you won't get into any trouble. So she walks around and she starts singing and she's like, where in the world am I going to go where I can't get into trouble? She begins singing this beautiful song in the movie. And tonight, one of my favorite musicians and colleagues at the University of Wisconsin-River Falls, Dr. Gary Bird, is going to play it for you. Gary Bird has a terrific word of advice and lifestyle for retired people. Don't. Just do something else and do it even better. He serves with his gifts. He's a role model for everybody. And when he plays this piece, even the birds sing. So watch the sky. You don't know what's going to happen over the rainbow. The St. Croix Valley Community Band has 3 concerts, all different. We have tonight, and you can see that it truly is a collaborative venture of ideas, artistic input, respect for talents and different people that come from all over the region. The band behind me comes from Minnesota and Wisconsin. And so I'm going to ask the people who are from the river, of course, keeping us together, the glue is the river. Those from Minnesota, please stand for us. Minnesota, stand up. Let's do the same thing in the audience. Everybody in the audience from Minnesota, let's see it. All right. So the river unites us, it doesn't divide us. Anyway, those from Wisconsin are the rest of them, right? So we're just gonna, the rest of you, we don't have to have you stand, but we appreciate you all being here. Okay, Florida, go ahead. All of those of you who've got Florida as your resident. All right, those in the audience from Colorado. I know we've got a faction from Colorado. Ohio. As you can tell, we have what we call groupies. South Carolina. So thank you all for being here. We really appreciate your participation. And what is the music? We practice over and over. What is it if we don't have someone to share it with? And that is you. So it's a blessing to us. Our next selection brings back Peg Sutherland on Fly Me to the Moon. Originally, this was the title, In Other Words. A popular song written in 1954 by Bart Howard. Kay Ballard made the first recording of this piece in 1954, and it has become a jazz standard performed everywhere and often in all cultures. Frank Sinatra got on the bandwagon in 1964, and his version was closely associated with Kay Ballard's, but then also with the Apollo missions to the moon, and he used it as a patriotic piece. Fly Me to the Moon. Next, we bring to the podium our talented tuba player, Dr. Gary Bird, and let's see Dr. Gary Bird's fan club. Go ahead, stand up. A lot of you know that he plays, yeah, we got a lot of people. He plays in so many groups. I believe you're a member of 4 groups, 5 groups, something like that. He also leads this St. Croix Valley Community Band. I haven't counted the years because I don't really want to, but I can tell you it's well in excess of 25 years. And what happened is we've had so much interest for people to perform year-round that we added a band at the University of Wisconsin River Falls on Wednesdays called the University Band. And Gary conducts that band, and it is a community band. So basically it's this band and other people who want to play, and so you're welcome to participate Wednesdays at 7 p.m. You'll also find Gary doing concerts throughout the holiday season. He'll be involved in one here at the Phipps Center for the Arts with the St. Croix Valley Symphony Orchestra. That's December 19th. Only 250 tickets available, so you better get them soon. Before Gary conducts our next piece, can I remind all those who are young and young at heart that Anastasia and the Phipps Center has a booth where you can make a rain stick, and we've got some involvement coming soon, and river sticks. And if you haven't done it, go ahead and make sure that you make your way around the grounds so you're seeing who's going to be participating. Platte River Hoedown by Carl Stroman with Dr. Gary Bird. I'd like to welcome back to the podium Peg to sing and Chris Tink to conduct a lovely, lovely rendition of the chorale prelude, Deep River. Keith Thompson is the leader and founder of the Metro Brass, and he did what we call cherry pick musicians that are fantastic. I understand his wife often makes cookies, or is it cupcakes? Cupcakes. She's got cupcakes for the Metro Brass tonight. So, what can I say? Musicians love to share their soul, and if you're playing and singing with people that you love and adore, there's nothing greater than our spirits uniting in this wonderful art of music. The next selection features the Metro Brass in a piece called All or Nothing at All, composed in 1939 by Arthur Altman with lyrics by Jack Lawrence. Frank Sinatra took this one in a 1939 recording, and this song became a huge hit in 1943 when it was reissued by Columbia Records during a difficult time in the recording industry. The record then peaked to the Billboard chart top number 2. Here tonight is wonderful trumpet player and amazing man, Dan Jewelson, being featured in All or Nothing at All. Movies are a big deal for composers, for artists, for writers. If your story gets taken by a film person, and it'll change your life. And people like Nicholas Spark have found that, right? And this piece, Jurassic Park, has been a must-see for everybody. If you haven't seen it yet, you got to get out there. Let's see a show of hands. How many people have seen Jurassic Park? All right. How about the new one? The new version? Yes. All right. Please welcome the Metro Brass with Jurassic Park. Our next selection, Riverdance. How many of you have seen any of the Bill Whelan productions? Riverdance, so exciting. The theatrics, the energy. Well, there's a funny story. Our arranger of this next piece, Johan de May, originally hails from Amsterdam, now living in New York City, and he was looking for a coffee pot off the board, and he went to buy this coffee pot, espresso machine, and he gets up there and sees this grand piano and says, "Hey, I'm a composer, what do you do?" He said, "Well, I'm a composer too." And needless to say, they started a relationship, and now Johan de May arranges some of the music Bill Whelan has written, and that is what you're going to find before you today. This one features one of the University of Wisconsin River Falls best and brightest, Mr. Robert Bauer on the soprano saxophone. We're going to do just the last movement of Riverdance for you. There's 5 movements, but we're going to just do number 5 for you. It's an amazing piece, and we just uploaded a video of the composer conducting this piece on YouTube. So don't forget about the tweets, the likes, the websites, the concerts. It's hard to get the word out on all of our wonderful events. Johan de May was actually in residence at the University of Wisconsin, River Falls, this last spring. And so, without further ado, Riverdance. Please welcome back the Metro Brass with Singing in the Rain, and I'm so glad it didn't. We love the Hudson High School Auditorium, but this is just a beautiful, beautiful thing to share with you. Speaking of that, we have a community chorus that will be in the band shell next week, right here, under Andy Hayes, 7 o'clock. You don't want to miss that. They are absolutely exceptional. So let's sing in the rain and save it for weekends. No, we don't want weekends either, do we? No. Save it for evenings. All right, singing in the rain. So the last piece featuring the Metro Brass is called Beyond the Sea. And then we have about a couple other things, and then the children, I hope you're getting restless because we need you in the program. So I hope you've got those rain sticks ready, those river sticks ready, because these are your percussion pieces. It's coming up soon. Make sure you visit those booths. Beyond the Sea with the Metro Brass. I would like to welcome to the podium Lori Allman. She is a wonderful poet and an inspirational personality. She hails from Marine on the St. Croix, and she has written a poem for the 2015 Riverfest celebration. Please welcome Lori.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. This poem is written in answer to all of the times that I have read that the St. Croix River is the color of tea. I don't know if you've read that as well. It's a reference to the tannic acids that the water picks up at its headwaters at Solon Springs. But every time I hear the St. Croix River looks like tea, I think that person who says that hasn't seen this river. So this poem is in answer to that. At the end of the poem, I'd like to invite the wonderful kids from the Just Add Water program over at the Phipps. They are going to be our own river that will flow from the back of the hill here right down through the crowd to the front of the stage. The rest of the kids here, I'd like you to join them as they pass by. You'll be the tributaries coming into the river toward the front, so please join them as they pass by. This is called The Color of a River. Tea, they say, the color of this river, from tannins in headwater bogs. But instead, I'd call it red, the scarlet red of cardinal flowers peering from the shaded slopes, or that rosy coral of a native brook trout's belly band, thin sliver of life held gently in a hand and then released again into a cool tributary stream. Or even that near fluorescent orange red of Jack gone to seed in his pulpit, redefining earth tones from beneath his emerald hood. Fierce yellow, that's the color of this river, the yellow of an eagle's gaze, taking our measure from the vantage of a lofty pine, or the comic yellow legs of small green herons hunting minnows in the shallows of backwater bays, and beyond to unimagined hues of blue, to shorter days of ice reflecting pale winter sky, and midnight blue of moonlit shadows on the snow. And then in spring, that saturated indigo refracted from the wings of buntings just returned, before the blooming phlox in June cast violet upon the shores. It's our own Van Gogh's palette, shifting over time in mingled grains of island sand and in the steady progress of a solitary turtle, silver dollar sized, swimming underwater, stroking out of shadow into light. If this is tea, well then it's tea with honey. Not one color, but all colors. Not one river, but all rivers, large and small. Every feeder stream and tributary, every temporary water course for snowmelt or for rain that remakes and renews this river through our days in wakefulness and sleep, and even now as we speak. And in so doing, somehow remaking and renewing us along the way. Bring on the river. Thank you. Here comes our river. Let's give them all a hand. There's our own St. Croix. Nice job, kids. And thank you to Deb on piano.